Special thanks to Patreon supporter Derek Frost Westbrook for making this video possible. Hello ladies and gentlemen, Kirov here bringing you another Minecraft World War II BAFTA build tutorial. In this tutorial we'll be going ahead and building the Kirov, which was the lead ship of the Kirov class of cruisers. The Kirov class, known as Project 26 cruisers, were a class of 6 cruisers built in the late 1930s for the Soviet Navy. After the first 2 ships, armor protection was increased, and subsequent ships are sometimes called the Maxim Gorky-Class. These were the first large ships built by the Soviets from the keel up after the Russian Civil War, and they were delivered from the Italian cruiser Raimondo Montecuccoli, being designed with assistance from the Italian Ansaldo Company. 2 ships each were deployed in the Black Sea and Baltic Seas during World War II, while the last pair was still under construction in the Russian Far East and saw no combat during the war. The first 4 ships bombarded Axis troops and facilities after the Germans invaded the Soviet Union in 1941. All 6 ships survived the war and lingered in training and other secondary roles, with 3 being scrapped in the early 1960s and the other 3 a decade later. So yeah, the Kirov class cruisers here have kind of a, I guess, under-known class of cruiser from the Soviet Navy during World War II. Pretty interesting ship, and for the time it was built in the late 1930s, definitely a very modern-looking type of cruiser. Well, modern in terms of basically World War II, later war type designs. But it's a really nice looking ship and should make an awesome addition to our BAFTA build World War II Soviet Navy, which has slowly been kind of expanding and growing in size. And this right here is just another nice cruiser to add into your worlds. But yeah, overall cool build. It should be a fun addition and all that. Before we go and take a look at the build though, I do want to go ahead and give special thanks to Patreon supporter Derek Frost Westbrook for making this tutorial possible. If you guys are interested in supporting the channel more you already do, feel free to check out my Patreon page. Link is always in my video description, where you can go and pledge a small amount to the channel every month, and in doing so earn a view core request of your choosing. It really helps support the work I do on my channel. It's really greatly appreciated, so definitely feel free to check that out. Again, link for that is always in my video descriptions. With that though, let's go ahead and dive in here to take a look at the Kirov class of cruiser. So getting started with, we have the front bow of the ship, and again, nothing really too fancy about it. It's got the 2 forward turrets mounted. They're dual turrets, or dual gun turrets, and we have the 2 in the front there. We then have the superstructure, and the conning tower houses all the, the bridge and all the fire control and systems, rangefinders, all that fun stuff. We also have the deck cranes here on both sides, as well as a seaplane catapult that's integrated in the midsection, which looks really nice and clean, really nice integration with that catapult. There's also some torpedo launchers on the side, as well as your secondary batteries on these sides. So you have 6 in total, 3 on each side. We have our rear mast here. Again, nothing too fancy for that. Some small anti-aircraft gun emplacements, and then we have our rear turret here on the stern. And the big Soviet Navy flag here on the back, which seem to be pretty common on the Kirovs. But overall, really cool looking ship. I think it came out really good and is again going to make a really awesome addition to our World War II BAFTA build fleet, which is pretty small. We only really have 2 ships, but it is, or 2 other ships, and now 3 including this one. But it's definitely going to be a great addition to your worlds, and it's just nice to continue to bolster up this era of ships and from this country. Anyway, so without further ado, let's go ahead and move into the tutorial. We'll begin with our first layer, layer number 1. Alright guys, so moving into our first layer here, we will be going ahead and start with layer 1. Now, a quick few things to mention here is if you are completely new to my BAFTA build tutorials, the way we like to structure these tutorials is for the first few layers, we will be going ahead and doing half on, half off. What this means is we're going to be building the center line of the ship, and then the entire right side. It'll be up to you guys to take the right side and copy it over to the left side. Overall, it's pretty straightforward stuff and really isn't anything too complex, but yeah, that's what we're going to be going ahead and doing, and that's how we're going to go ahead and structure this first few layers. In addition, if you do want to build this ship in the water, which I imagine most of you are going to want to do, you do want to make sure you position this in a certain height. And we have basically our first layer, layer 1 here, is where we're going to be going ahead and starting that with. So we have basically our row here of blue, which represents our water level. So this layer here is going to lay right with that top level of the water blocks. So if you are begin building this in the water, you want to make sure you start your layer at this point. Anyways, once you're all good to go and you have your blocks ready to go, we're going to start off by building a long row of red concrete. This is going to be the center line of our draft of our ship, and this right here is going to be a total of 31 blocks from the front to the back. After that's done, we'll go ahead and go the direction you want the front of your ship facing. So again, we have that 31 blocks. We're going to go ahead and have our ship face that way. So we're going to place down a brick wall and a red stained glass pane going forward. Now that right there is going to make our front, and we have our center all the way down. On the very end here, we're going to place down a brick top slab, a acacia wood trapdoor, a red stained glass pane, a brick wall, and an acacia wood trapdoor. And that is going to complete your center line. So again, if you need to take a moment here to pause, this right here is what it should look like for your center line with that complete. Now with that all done, we're going to start working our way out to the sides. We're going to go ahead and place down a brick upside down stair, come off this second to last red concrete block, and then a second brick stair going forward. We're going to go ahead and place down 2 lightning rods going back, and then a birchwood slab after that. We'll then go forward with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20 red concrete blocks, 1, 2, 3, and 4 brick walls, and then 2 red stained glass panes forward just like that. And actually, we're going to go ahead and make these 3 brick walls and 3 glass panes. We're going to go and do that instead. But yeah, it's going to look just like that right there. Then our next row here, we want to go ahead and go to our back, and we're going to go ahead and go to our second to last red concrete block. We're going to place down a red stained glass pane to the side here, and we're going to go forward 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14 red stained glass panes, like that for the right side. After that's all done, that right there is basically what it should look like from the top down view. Again, you'll take the right side, copy it over to the left side, and once you have that done, you're pretty much good to go. With that all done, that's it for layer 1. Let's move on to layer number 2. Alright guys, moving into our next layer here, we have layer number 2. For layer 2 to start with, we're going to place down an andesite wall on top of the red stained glass pane here in the front. And we're going to go ahead and take our stone blocks, and we're going to place down a row of stone going down the center here for a total of 8 blocks. We're going to go then switch over to our stripped acacia wood, and we're going to go ahead and then continue our row down the center here for our stripped acacia wood. This here is going to be a total of 28 blocks, which should end on top of this brick wall on the very end here. This will also be followed up with a stone block like so. Do make sure that your stripped acacia wood blocks are all placed in the same direction. As you can see, they do have these edge lines that will show up when you have multiple of these together. And if you do have one place the opposite direction, it's going to look a little weird. So just make sure your lines are remain consistent. You can have them going front to back or just side to side. Either one will work. For me personally, I like the side to side the best, but again, you just kind of want to make those all look consistent because it's just going to look a lot better if you're looking up close at the ship. Anyways, though, going back up to the front here, we're going to go ahead and go to our third stone block. We're going to place down a light gray stained glass pane, followed by a second glass pane going back. We're going to go and then follow this up with a row of 1, 2, 3, 4 of andesite walls, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stone blocks, and we're going to go ahead and place down our stripped acacia wood blocks again. So far we have 7 placed, then we have 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 stone full blocks, and then lastly we're going to place down 1 and 2 stone upside down stairs around us off to the back there. On the last 4 stone blocks, we're going to place down polished black stone buttons here on the stern, and we then want to go ahead and go to our first stone block, I should say, here, and we're going to place down a light gray stained glass pane to the side of it. We're going to go forward 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18 for a total of 19 of those glass panes. And then 1, 2, 3 polished black stone buttons after that. And also 1 here on this front block. Again, on both sides there. And anyways, once you have that all done, that's going to wrap up everything there is there for layer 2. And again, looking at it from up above, this is what we should have for the top-down view with this layer complete. Anyways, though, again, that is it for layer 2. Let's move on up to layer number 3. Alright guys, so moving on to our next layer, we have layer 3. Layer 3 will be the first layer we start to do everything together, as we do have a lot of detail and actual superstructure and details that really start to come out in this layer. But let's go ahead and get started here. So we're going to start off with placing down a stone block on top of this andesite wall, and then we're going to place down a tripwire hook forward of it, and then a skeleton skull on both sides of the stone block. We're going to go ahead and place down a second stone block back, and we'll go ahead and also make sure we grab our stripped acacia wood. And we're going to place down a row of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and we're going to stop at 14 stripped acacia wood blocks and then a stone block, like so. Now, after that is all done, we're going to go ahead and then go to the sides, and we're going to place down 1, 2, 3 light gray stained glass panes, and same thing over here, 1, 2, 3. On the first pane, we're going to place down an item frame to both sides, and in that item frame, we're going to place down a crossbow rotated face downwards. Same thing over here. And then we're going to go ahead and then take our andesite walls, go back 1, 2, 3, and 4. And same thing over here, 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to go then take our stone blocks, and we're going to place down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And same thing over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Once we have that done, we're going to take our polished black stone buttons, we're going to place down 1, 2, 3. And over here, same thing, 1, 2, 3. We'll then take our light gray stained glass panes, and we're going to go ahead and basically go off these polished black stone buttons. So we're going to place down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 back. And same thing over here, just like that. Now once we get to this point, we're going to go ahead and start to get into some of our superstructure and deck details. We're going to start off with place down a birchwood sign on the side here of those signs right there, or off those glass panes, and then we're going to place down 2 quartz slabs back from the glass panes on both sides. On this first slab here, we are going to go ahead and place down a birchwood sign as well on both sides. In the center, we're going to place down a redstone repeater, separate the notches from each other like so, and we're going to go ahead and place down a stone block here in the center, followed by 1, 2 more blocks back. We're going to go and then take our light gray stainless panes, and we're going to place down 3 glass panes here to the side of those 3 stone blocks. We then want to place down a stripped acacia wood block here in the center, and then we're going to go and then take our andesite walls, and we're going to go and place down an andesite wall to both sides of that block right there. Then for our torpedo launcher, we're going to place down a polished deep slate slab there, and then a stone brick stair, and same thing over here, just like that for our torpedo launcher. We're going to go ahead and then place down a stone block to both sides here, and then another stripped acacia wood block here in the center. Again, we want to make sure we keep our pattern a little bit consistent, and you also may want to change this pattern here and make sure that this is facing out to the sides. That is something I forgot to do, so I'm going to go ahead and just make sure I swap that over. So again, when we look at our deck from the top-down view, all of our kind of wood patterns are going to be going the same direction. Anyways, though, continuing on, we're going to go ahead and also place down an iron trapdoor that's going to come off the side here of this stone brick wall, or that stone block. We're going to go then take our stripped acacia wood. We're going to place down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 blocks down the center here. We're going to take our stone blocks. We're going to go back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and same thing over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're going to place down an andesite wall on both sides. We're going to take our iron trapdoors. We're going to go ahead and skip a space from this one, place down a second one, and a third one like that. So we're just skipping our spaces, space of 1 in between each one. And we have that on both sides. We're going to go and then take our quartz slabs, and we're going to place down 2 quartz slabs on top of these glass panes here. Again, for like a little lifeboat, like that. And then we want to go ahead and place down a stone block here in the center, which is going to be followed with a light gray stainless pane to the sides there. And after we have that done, we're going to place down a stone upside down stair, like so. And coming off that stair, we're going to place down a skeleton skull, like that to both sides. We then want to go ahead and grab a dropper, and we're going to place down a dropper, like so. And then going back from the dropper, we're going to go ahead and also grab ourselves some birchwood fence gates. We're going to place down a fence gate here, open it toward the dropper, a fence gate here, open it toward the fence gate, and then a birchwood sign here on both sides of that fence gate. We then want to go ahead and grab ourselves some light gray candles. We're going to place down 1 and 2 right here. And then taking our iron trap doors, we're going to place down an iron trap door and another set of like gray candles like so. And then lastly, we're going to place down a end rod that's going to go up here on the back like so. Now once we have that all done, we're going to go and take our acacia wood pressure plates, and we're going to go and cover up the stone blocks that we can, like this, on the sides there. And if you are on Java, you can go ahead and do a little bit of extra detail. Now, here's the thing. If you are not on Java, I would recommend probably replacing, instead of putting the signs here on the side of this guns, I would probably just place down the pressure plate. So like that instead. So you keep that deck color a little bit more consistent. But if you're on Java, we can go ahead and kind of do both by placing down a birchwood sign. And we can also place down an item frame on top of this block. And in the item frame, you can just throw in an orange stained glass pane. And it kind of works for keeping that deck color a little bit more consistent. And we're just going to go ahead and do the same thing there for underneath those skeleton skulls. I would keep the skeleton skulls though if you are not able to place down the item frames underneath them. I would just settle and just keep that block right there, stone. But anyways, that right there is pretty much it for this layer. I'm just trying to make sure I'm not missing anything, and everything pretty much does appear to be good to go. So we're going to go ahead and call that good for this layer. Again, here is a overview of what it should look like from the top-down view. And that is going to conclude everything we have there for layer 3. And we'll be going ahead and move on to our next layer, layer number 4. Moving on to our next layer, we have layer number 4. For layer 4 to get started with here, we're going to place down a end rod and then iron bar on top of that. We're going to go then place down a redstone repeater. We're going to separate the notches from each other like so, and then we're going to go ahead and place down 2 redstone dust back and a redstone repeater like so. We also want to go ahead and place down item frames on top of these glass panes here, and we're going to go ahead and then place down black beds in the item frames. We're going to rotate this around so that the white is facing forward, and it's going to kind of form our slots where the chain would go down and connect up to our anchors. Now after that is all done there, we want to go ahead and grab our birchwood fence gates again, and we're going to place down 1 and 2 fence gates open up going back, and again a birchwood sign on both sides of the last fence gate there. We'll then grab our dropper, and we're going to go and do the same thing. So we have our dropper here, and then behind it we have our stone upside down stair. So again, I'll just go ahead and run back here, and we're going to place down a stone upside down stair, as well as a skeleton skull that is going to go on both sides here of the stair like that. Now after that is all done, we then want to go ahead and place down a acacia wood trapdoor on both sides of the dropper. Again, for Java players, we'll place down an item frame underneath those skeleton skulls, and we're going to do the same thing we did before with an orange stained glass pane in those item frames. After that, we're going to go ahead and then grab ourselves a light gray shulker box, and then we're going to go ahead and then place down an item frame, or not item frame, sorry, just an acacia wood pressure plate to both sides. Then at this point right here, we're going to go ahead and do kind of an interesting technique. Now this is going to be for Java players. We're going to place down a piston on its side like so. This will revolve around you having access to a debug stick. We're going to talk about that a little bit later in the video, but just know that we will be using the debug stick here for this. If you are not on Java, I would recommend probably just placing down a skeleton skull instead in that section there. But the piston here is going to be a really nice technique for us to use, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later again for Java players. Continuing on though, we're going to go ahead and then place down a redstone repeater. That's going to be on both sides here of the piston or the skeleton skull, whichever you placed. We're going to go ahead and then grab ourselves an andesite wall, and we want to place down an andesite wall that's going to go back from the piston like so, and then a pressure plate on both sides. We then want to take our stone blocks. We're going to place down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stone blocks down the center here, and we're going to go ahead and then grab our light gray stained glass panes, and we're going to go ahead and run light gray stained glass panes along those 5 stone blocks. So like that on both sides there. Now after that's done, we then have our crane here, which is basically started with a birchwood fence gate on top of this glass pane here. And then we want to place down a stone cutter, which is going to be placed like so. After that stone cutter, we're going to go ahead and go forward with 2 birchwood fence gates and then a skeleton skull on the tip there. After that, going ahead and continuing on, we want to go ahead and grab our iron trapdoors, and we're just going to place down a row of 3 across the back here. We then want to go ahead and grab our, we're going to leave that alone for right now, but we're going to continue on going back with some stone slabs. We're going to place down a stone top slab, and then we want to place down a stone brick upside down stair, a second stair behind it, and then another stone top slab. We're going to go ahead and also place down another skeleton skull, come with the side of the stair here, to both sides. And we're going to go ahead and then also place down a acacia wood pressure plate on top of these walls here. Then we're going to take our stone blocks, we're going to place down 1, 2, 3, 4 down the center there. And we're going to go ahead and then take our pressure plates, and we're going to place down 1, 2, and over here 1, 2. And then we're going to place down a end rod to both sides. After that is all done, we're going to go ahead and place down a stone brick wall. That's going to be on these iron trapdoors, like so. And same thing over here. And we're going to go ahead and talk about those a little bit later because we can do some cool stuff there with our debug stick. We're going to go ahead and then place our pressure plates right there on both sides of that stone block. We'll continue on by going ahead and grabbing ourselves a scaffolding piece, which is we're going to place down 2 scaffolding pieces like so. And then we're going to take our birchwood fence gates and place them down like this here to the sides. We can also take our item frames, and again for Java players, we'll place down item frames underneath those fence gates like that, and we'll place down some orange stained glass panes in those item frames like that. And like so. So once we have that all done, we're going to go ahead and then place down a stone block here. And then we want to go and then place down a acacia wood pressure plate to both sides. We're going to go ahead and then also place down a lever. That's going to be in the center right here. And then after that lever, we want to go ahead and place down a iron trapdoor on top of that stone upside down stair. Now with that all done, we're going to go ahead and focus our attention here to the back, which is going to be done by going ahead and placing down a block on top of this end rod, and then we're going to place down a skeleton skull coming off of it. We're going to delete that block, and then on top of that, we're going to place down a end rod. We then want to go ahead and place down a smooth quartz stair coming off the end rod, and then a dark or prismarine brick stair that's going to be upside down there on the bottom, and that's going to make our little Soviet flag there on the back of the ship. With that all done though, that is going to basically wrap up what we have there for that. We'll also go ahead and grab our end rods, and we're going to place down one here coming off this wall, same thing here, same thing over here on this side, and then also an end rod coming off this wall. So at this point, we'll go ahead and use our debug stick here to edit the stone brick wall. We're going to go and left click it until we get basically the direction that's going to extend our wall basically toward our end rod. So for us, my direction will be south. You may have to play around with it a little bit, but we're just going to go ahead and do one click and just raise it up one, and that's going to be the direction that the end rod is pointing. Then the opposite direction of where the end rod is, we're going to go and do basically 2 clicks, and that should bring us up to a taller wall. So that one side's going to be taller. Then what we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and edit the backs here of these ones, make those ones taller, and again for the guns facing toward the rear, we're going to go and make that lower there in the front. And the same thing here is just going to be applied like that on both sides. And after we have that all done, that's going to basically wrap up everything we have there for layer 4. Layer 4 out of the way, that's going to do it, and then we'll move on to our next layer, layer number 5. Moving into our next layer, we have layer number 5. For layer 5 to go ahead and get started with here, we're going to go ahead and build our next turret that's going to go on top of here. This is going to start off by placing down a dropper on top of this shulker box, and then we're going to go forward with it with a birchwood fence gate, and then the second one, we're going to open these toward that block like so. We're also going to place down a birchwood sign on both sides of the fence gate. After that's all done, we want to go ahead and then place down a stone upside down stair here. And we're going to go ahead and then continue on back with a andesite wall on top of this one. Now, a real quick side note here for Java players is we're going to go ahead and take our debug stick, and we're going to go ahead and right click the piston with our debug stick, and that's going to get rid of that wood portion there, and it's going to kind of help create the barbette that the gun here sits on. So that's basically what we were doing in that section there. Anyways though, after that, going ahead and continue on, we're going to go and grab a birchwood fence gate, and we're going to place down a fence gate that's going to be in this section here, and we're going to open that toward the front. On the sides of the fence gate, we're going to go ahead and place down a birchwood sign, like so. And then we're going to go ahead and then take our stone blocks, and we're going to place down 1, 2, 3 stone blocks down the center, and then a andesite wall here on the very end of that row. Now, once we have that done, we're going to go ahead and then place down a redstone repeater on that iron trapdoor. We're going to go and separate the notches from each other. And we're going to go ahead and take our acacia wood pressure plates, place them to both sides, go 2 more forward on the sides there. We're also going to place down an andesite wall here to both sides. And we then want to go ahead and place down a lever that's going to go on the side here of these blocks. And again, this can be a Java feature. We're going to go and left click this until we get selected wall. We'll take this and right click it face to floor. And again, that'll be kind of more of a Java feature to do. And we can also grab ourselves some item frames, and just to kind of make these look a little bit more like little fighting or positions or fortified positions, we can place down a little item frame there as well, just to kind of give a little bit more detail. Continuing on though, we're going to go ahead and then skip over our catapult. We don't really have anything to add here except for a rail that is going to go on top of this second stair here. However, on our next stone block, we're going to place down one more stone block up, then a second block back, and we're going to go ahead and then place down a stone brick wall, or upside down stair I should say. And then we're going to place down a end rod that goes up from these ones from the previous layer. Continuing on toward the back here, we're going to go ahead and then place down a birchwood fence post that is going to be located here. And then we're going to go ahead and then place down a end rod like that. After that is all done there, we want to go ahead and then place down a redstone repeater on top of this stone block here on the very end. And we're also going to go ahead and grab our polished andesite stairs and slabs. We're going to place down a polished andesite stair here and a slab back, and same thing over here like this for some little lifeboats or whatever that are mounted on the back of the ship here. With that all done though, that is going to wrap up everything we have there for layer number 5. And so with that, we'll be going ahead and moving on to our next layer, which will be layer number 6. Moved into our next layer, we have layer number 6. For layer 6 to go ahead and get started with here, we're going to go and place down a iron trapdoor on top of this stone stair here. Now on top of that andesite wall, we're going to go ahead and then place down a smoker, and then we're going to go ahead and place down a skeleton skull to both sides of the smoker. Alright guys, so going ahead and continue on, we're going to go ahead and then place down a birchwood fence gate here coming off the smoker, open it up toward the block, as well as a birchwood sign on both sides of that fence gate. We then want to place down a row of 1, 2, 3 stone blocks. We're going to place down a skeleton skull on both sides of this first block, as well as a stone upside down stair, or rather a stone upside down stair on upside down on top of those andesite walls. We're going to go then place down a andesite wall that goes back from that stone block. After we have that done, we're going to go then place down a stone block here, then an andesite wall, and we want to go ahead and then place down a birchwood fence gate that's going to go right here on top of the wall and open up toward the back. We're going to go ahead and also place down an iron trapdoor on top of these 2 end rods, as well as an item frame coming off the trapdoors, and then we're going to go ahead and also place down a snowball in the item frames like that to both sides. Continuing on, we're going to place down a birchwood fence post on top of this one, as well as grabbing a barrier block, and we're going to place down a barrier block here that's going to come off this fence post to both sides, and we're going to go ahead and place down a stone button coming off the side there of those barrier blocks. We're also going to go ahead and take a skeleton skull, and we're going to go ahead and go basically up from this fence post here, and we're going to place down a skeleton skull like that. Then behind that, we're going to go ahead and also grab ourselves a chain, and we want to very simply place down a chain that's going to go up and kind of come off that skeleton skull like down the back there for another crane here on the back. And with that all done, that is going to wrap up everything we have there for layer number 6, and at this point in time, we'll just probably go ahead and move into our final layers and go ahead and wrap up the build. So with that, let's go ahead and move into our last final layers. Moving into our final layers here, we have layers 7 through 11. For these layers, to go ahead and get started with here, we're going to go ahead and begin with by going ahead and placing down a lever on top of this smoker, and we're going to go ahead and place down an item frame on top of that. After that's done, we're going to go ahead and then place down a stone upside down stair, or rather, actually, sorry, just a normal stone stair, and then to the sides of that stone stair, we're going to place down a skeleton skull to both sides. We also want to place down an andesite wall behind the stone stair, as well as a end rod that is going to be placed down here in the center. After that, we're going to go ahead and then grab a piston, and we're going to place it here to both sides. If you do not have access to the debug stick and using the piston, you can use a a solid block, a full block, whichever you prefer. We're going to go ahead and then take a tripwire hook, and we're going to place it down on both sides here of the pistons, just like that. And we can then take our debug stick here and just right click those pistons like so to get rid of that wood portion. We're going to go ahead and then place down a black concrete block here on top of this block, and then a polished blackstone slab back from it. Once we have that all done, we're going to go ahead and then place down a birchwood fence gate on top of this stair here, open it toward the back, and we're going to go ahead and place down a skeleton skull, and then we're going to place down an end rod to both sides of the skeleton skull. After that's done, we're going to go ahead and also place down an item frame coming off the front here of that fence gate, and in that item frame, we're going to place down a snowball, like so. After that, we're going to place down a birchwood sign to both sides of the fence gate. And after we have that done, we're going to go ahead and then place down a stone upside down stair here on the very top. We're going to place down a birchwood sign on both sides of the stair. And we're going to go ahead and then go forward from the stair with just a random block. And then off the side of the block, we're going to place down an end rod to both sides, and then we'll just delete that block. And we're going to go ahead and basically do the same thing on the back here, but we're going to place down 2 end rods back and then an end rod on both sides of the first one, like so. Then continuing on up, we're going to go ahead and grab a light gray shulker box. We're going to place it on the very top here of the upside down stair. To both sides of it, we're going to place down a birchwood fence gate, as well as a redstone repeater that is going to sit on top of it, like so. And then we're also going to go ahead and place down a tripwire hook here on the back, and then an end rod on top of that tripwire hook. After we have that all done, we're going to go ahead and then move to our kind of more mid and rear section of the ship. We're going to go ahead and build our second funnel, which is going to be a black concrete block and then a polished blackstone slab. Then a birchwood fence gate on top of this one, open up toward the back, and another birchwood fence post going up from this one here. We're going to go ahead and then place down a andesite wall that is going to be on top of the fence post. And then we're going to go ahead and then place down a end rod that is going to go out to the sides here of that wall. And it's actually going to be 2 end rods out to the sides. Then we want to go ahead and place down a skeleton skull coming off this toward the front, and another end rod, and then going toward the back here, we're going to place down 2 end rods, like so. Also, we're going to go ahead and place down a barrier block on top of this skeleton skull, And coming off the side of the barrier block to both sides, we're going to place down buttons, and we're also going to place down a skeleton skull coming off the side of the barrier block to go ahead and make that rear crane. Then continuing on, we're going to go ahead and grab our barrier blocks again. We're going to place down a block here, and then one over. Same thing here, and one over. And for this, we're going to go ahead and place down a button on the outside here of this block, and we're going to go and do that on both sides here. So just like that. Now continuing on up, we're going to take our end rods, and we're going to go ahead and go up 1, 2, 3 end rods up, and on that middle one, we're going to place down a end rod on both sides of it. After that, we're going to go ahead and then place down a barrier block. That's going to go here and here, and then we're going to place down buttons on both sides of those barrier blocks. We also want to go ahead and place down a barrier block that's going to go on top of this end rod here, and then one that's going to come off this one. So it's kind of at an angle there, and we're going to place down buttons here on both sides of those barrier blocks. After that's done, we're going to go ahead and then again take our barrier blocks, and we're going to go ahead and do a row of 5 going forward from this middle one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to go ahead and then go off of this last end rod here, and we're going to go ahead and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 back as well. On the sides here, we're going to place down 2 buttons, then 1, 2, 3 buttons, and we then want to go ahead and place down 1, 2, 3 on top, and then again on the last two buttons to the side. And for these last two, we're going to go ahead and do them on both sides. So we have the buttons on the middle there, and then the buttons on both sides there are the last ones. And then with that all done, that is pretty much going to wrap up everything. Just trying to make sure I'm not missing anything, and everything does appear to be good to go. So with that, that is going to conclude everything we have there for layers through 7 through 11. And that right there is going to conclude our tutorial here for the BAFTA build of the Kirov, part of the Kirov class of Soviet cruisers. Hopefully you guys do enjoy this design and are able to put it to good use. If you do use this build, I do ask that you guys give me proper credit for it. This will be linked from a link to my channel or this video or just a sign on the build, just depending on if you put it on social media or just your world. Just make sure I get proper credit for it. That's all I ask for when doing these tutorials. In addition, again, special links to Patreon supporter Derek Frost Westbrook for making this tutorial possible. And as always, feel free to check my Patreon page. Link is always in my video description, where you can go and play this small to the channel every month and getting a view per request to your choosing per month you're a patron. So again, definitely feel free to check that out and take advantage of those benefits. With that though, thank you guys again so much for watching. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This has been Garrett 2x4, and I'll see you guys next time.